In December 1872, a merchant brigantine was found adrift in the Atlantic, its cargo untouched, its sails full, but its crew vanished without a trace. No signs of struggle, no lifeboat in sight, just an eerie silence echoing over the waves. This was the Mary Celeste. Finding her was not the end of the curse. Follow the story to the very end to discover what happened in the years after the ship was found. A vessel that has puzzled sailors, historians, and storytellers for more than 150 years. The Mary Celeste was a large, two-masted sailing vessel capable of carrying 282 tons of cargo. She was built in Canada in 1861 and registered there as a commercial ship, beginning her voyages under the name Amazon. From her earliest days, she seemed cursed, becoming associated with a series of strange incidents before her entire crew suddenly vanished in 1872, never to be seen again. That on her very first voyage, her captain, Robert McClellan, the son of the ship's owner, died on deck from pneumonia. Her misfortune continued on her next journey when she collided with a fishing boat. On her first transatlantic voyage, she struck another ship in the English Channel. For several years afterward, she sailed as a cargo vessel between North and South America. During one of these trips, she encountered a severe storm, was blown off course, and sustained damage. In 1868, she was sold to an American who registered her in New York under the name Mary Celeste. Shortly after, he sold her to a group of partners, one of whom was Benjamin Briggs, who became her captain and took her on several commercial voyages across the Atlantic. On November 5th, 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail from New York with a cargo of 1,701 barrels of raw alcohol bound for Italy. The crew consisted of Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife, young daughter, and 7 experienced sailors. About a month later, another American ship, the Dei Grazia, commanded by Captain David Morehouse, an old friend of Benjamin Briggs, was making her way toward Europe. Morehouse did not expect to encounter the Mary Celeste in mid-ocean, as she had departed a month ahead of him. But while sailing about 600 miles west of Portugal, his crew spotted an unidentified sailing vessel roughly 8 kilometers away. She was moving erratically, one sail flapping loosely in the wind. Captain Morehouse ordered his men to approach the unknown vessel. As they drew closer, he recognized it as none other than the Mary Celeste, the ship captained by his friend, which should by then have been near the Strait of Gibraltar. Realizing something had gone terribly wrong, Morehouse sent one of his sailors, Oliver Deveau, in a small boat to board her. Upon reaching the deck, Deveau first checked the ship's pumps. One was still working, while the other 2 were missing entirely. He searched the ship but found no one. Every person on board had vanished. What made the scene even stranger was that the Mary Celeste was in excellent condition. The crew had vanished, leaving behind everything, even valuables and personal belongings. The ship's wool was not tied, the cargo untouched, and the passengers' possessions were in place. Yet no one ever saw or heard from them again. Further inspection revealed that some navigational instruments were missing, as well as the ship's registration documents, logbook, and a small lifeboat. Could the crew have used it to flee? But why abandon a seaworthy ship? Captain Morehouse and his crew had no answers. They decided to sail the vessel to Gibraltar to claim their share as finders of a derelict at sea. Dozens of theories emerged, some wilder than others. One suggested that the crew got drunk, killed the captain and his family, and fled in a lifeboat. But the alcohol was industrial and undrinkable, disproving that theory. Another claimed that Briggs and Morehouse conspired before leaving New York to stage the find and claim the reward. But this made little sense, as Briggs would lose more than he gained. He was a part owner of the ship. A third theory accused the Dei Grazia's crew of boarding the Mary Celeste and slaughtering everyone. A fourth claimed a giant, hungry octopus attacked and ate the crew. Others spoke of alien abductions, hallucinogenic mold in the food or water, or even a freak waterspout lifting everyone into the sky. The most widely accepted theory is that Captain Briggs mistakenly believed his ship was taking on a dangerous amount of water and was about to sink. This theory is supported by the discovery of the sounding rod, used to measure water in the hold, lying on deck, indicating it had been recently used before evacuation. One of the pumps also showed signs of malfunction. It was dismantled. A faulty reading of the sounding rod, combined with a non-functioning pump, may have convinced Briggs that the Mary Celeste was doomed, leading him to order an evacuation. One of the most widely accepted theories about the fate of the Mary Celeste is that her crew may have feared an explosion caused by leaking fumes from the barrels of alcohol stored on board. Methyl alcohol is highly flammable, and if a leak occurred, vapors could have built up in the hold, creating the risk of a fire or explosion that could tear the ship apart. The danger of such a blaze was extreme. Just a single spark from the galley stove, an oil lantern, or even a match could have ignited the fumes. This theory is supported by the fact that the ship was carrying 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol, and 9 of those barrels were found empty. According to this hypothesis, when Captain Briggs and his crew smelled alcohol vapors coming from the cargo hold, they panicked and abandoned ship in the lifeboat, fearing it would explode. There is further evidence that appears to support this idea. The rescue crew found the hatches of the Mary Celeste open, suggesting the crew may have tried to ventilate the ship to prevent an explosion. And of course, there was the missing lifeboat, clear proof the crew had indeed left the vessel. However, there's a critical flaw in this theory that leaves troubling questions unanswered. If the crew had only evacuated temporarily to let the vapors dissipate, why didn't they return once they realized the ship was no longer in danger of exploding? The last entry in the ship's log was dated November 25th, 1872, indicating that the vessel was about 190 kilometers west of the Azores, with no problems reported. After more than a century, has no trace ever been found of the crew's bodies or the missing lifeboat. In the end, the De Grazia's crew received 1/6 of the insured value of the ship and her cargo, $7,700, around $120,000 today. The Mary Celeste was returned to Boston by her owners, but her bad luck persisted. The father of one of the owners drowned while on board. Over the next 13 years, she changed hands 17 times before her last owner deliberately wrecked her on the reefs near Haiti on January 3rd, 1885, in an attempt to defraud the insurance company by deliberately wrecking her on a rocky area. But the scheme failed, the fraud was discovered, and those responsible were prosecuted.